Hey everybody, my name is Geni and I'm coming to you from the first time from Hawaii. We're currently back in lockdown, so I thought this would be a good chance to start a booktube channel. We'll see how this goes. Booktube has been a really great place for me this summer, especially I think a lot of people have been trying to find ways to be productive and fight off boredom and stay social and things like that. And I found myself referring to booktubers as my friends a lot, and my husband had to remind me I had never met these people, but this might be a step up and a different way to engage with the community. So I'm excited I'm here for that. I was just still trying to figure this out a little bit. I spent a while setting the camera up and looking in like the capture thing and trying to figure out why my hair was so frizzy, and I realized it's because I cut it myself. So that's not going to change anytime soon. But anyway, let's get into it and let me show you some of the books that I've really loved over the last couple months. Quarantine is great for reading a lot, right? Okay, the first book and the first author I really want to talk about is Geni. And I'm actually reading her books out of order. I read her book, The Wildlands, I think it was last year, and I really enjoyed that, but I picked up The Lightkeepers this summer and I absolutely loved it. 5 stars, would recommend this book to everybody. It's so atmospheric. It's a lot of nature writing. It's very suspenseful. You have an unreliable narrator. And the entire book, you're just trying to figure out what's happening in this really remote location. The narrator goes out to do some nature photography on this fellowship experiment, and all these things keep happening to this small group of people who are living on the island. I absolutely love this book, just to demonstrate a little bit how much I love this book. It's literally falling apart. All my books are used, so I didn't do this all by myself, but I certainly didn't help the process along. But I've been recommending this book to everyone. Again, I think if you like nature writing and you kind of like suspense-filled novels and you just like a good plot and a good fast-paced book in general, this is a great one to pick up. I have Geni's, I think it's her first book, her short story collection, The Last Animals, I picked up a couple months ago. So I'm excited to get to this one. I couldn't say no to it once I read The Lightkeepers. I just want to read everything Geni has written. I'm looking forward to this one too. Again, I really enjoy nature writing, and I'm hoping this will have more of what I found in that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. If you've read it and you've liked it, let me know. I know it's a couple years old, but it's new to me. So that's fun. Okay, another author I really want to talk about, someone I've been getting really into this summer and who's definitely no stranger to booktube, but I just need to take the time and preach her name a little bit more, is Sarah Moss. I decided, I think I'm gonna make it a goal this year, if not next year, to read all of her books that have come out. I know her newest book, Summer Water, I think it's called, is out in the UK. It's not out in the US yet, which is really unfortunate and another reason to potentially move out of the country. But for now, we're stuck. So gonna make do with what we have. I actually read Sarah Moss for the first time, oh gosh, when was it? Maybe in like 2014, 2015. I read her nonfiction book. I think I have it here somewhere. Yes, I do. Names for the Sea, Strangers in Iceland. I read this one first after a trip to Iceland. I just love the country so much, and I just wanted to do some writing that would remind me of the place. And I really enjoyed this one, but I had never made the connection between Sarah Moss as this nonfiction writer and Sarah Moss as an incredible fiction writer. So not in the order that she's written them, but this summer I've read her books Night Waking, which this one is probably my favorite. And this is one I would recommend to folks if you haven't read Sarah Moss before and you're interested in like getting into her books, because I think this has a little bit of everything she does best. This book is about a couple, and they go and they live on this very remote island. Again, you can see the theme with islands here. And the husband is there to do some sort of research on the puffin population there, and she's there. She's also trying to work on her PhD, and they have these two little kids that are just like the most like strange young humans you can never imagine. Like, one of them doesn't sleep at all, and the other one is incredibly pessimistic and is like waiting for the end days and waiting for the world to end. And the husband is just totally checked out and not really parenting or being a good partner in any way. And so Anna, the main female character, she's trying to juggle her work and not sleeping and trying to figure out where the hell her husband is at any given time, with the harsh reality of living on this island and not having things like reliable internet access, which you need for your PhD. But I just find the way that Sarah Moss writes about relationships to be amazing, especially marital relationships, and this kind of idea of like this ambivalent, aloof male character. It definitely has some really good feminist tie-ins, which I really enjoy. But I just found this work was excellent. And if you know anything about Sarah Moss, a lot of her novels link together in some way. So there's some like pattern of historical fiction that is like loosely tying a lot of them together. So because I read this one, which tells the story of this very modern couple, but also is writing this parallel story of this woman who's lived on the island before and kind of a mystery surrounding her life. I went ahead and I picked up Signs for Lost Children, which is also an excellent book, which has a little bit more background on the historical fiction running throughout this one. And then I believe there's the next novel I want to turn to. I don't think I read these in the order they were authored. But the next book I wanted to turn to is Bodies of Light by Sarah Moss, which I think continues on some of the background of the main characters in this book. So this book, the previous book was set in like, it could be like today or, 5-10 years ago. But this book is set in the late 19th century. And I found this book to be amazing. One, because again, it has a really interesting male-female relationship with very similar themes, where the husband is very aloof and he doesn't really pick up on the suffering of the wife and all these changes that are going on for her. But also because it talks a lot about mental health and women's mental health in particular, and how that was treated in the late 19th century, and how a lot of women were just assumed to be insane because of their attitudes or their unwillingness to accept really horrible circumstances and patriarchal oppression. But I really enjoyed this one. A little bit slower in terms of plot, but definitely worth a read. I'm really looking forward to getting to her next one, the Bodies of Light, once I finish this. Bodies of Light. And then my third Sarah Moss read this summer has been Cold Earth, and this is actually Sarah Moss's debut novel from 2009. So that's not all that long ago. Geez, I'm old. But I really enjoyed this. This is a little bit different. I think this is more of a standalone piece. It's about 6 archaeologists that come together from different parts of the globe to work in this remote settlement in Greenland, and they're unearthing these Viking ruins while they're there. But the trip hasn't been planned super well, and there are some problems with just how remote the location is again, and some of the characters start to have experiences that are disturbing and troubling, and they kind of lose sight of reality. And I just think that this book is so clever. It's told from different perspectives, so you have different chapters with each of the archaeologists and kind of like their retelling of what is going on and their retelling of the other characters and kind of like what they think of the situation, which I think is done really well. You're not flipping back and forth between narrative perspectives, which I think can sometimes be hard to keep track of, but you're just doing them one at a time. So you're moving from one archaeologist to the next. Yeah, and I found it to be amazing. I'm going to recommend this one to my husband, actually. He's not a massive reader, but he does like kind of the Stephen King suspense sort of books, and I think this one would probably be a good one for him to try out, and it has a really great plot twist at the end, which I think makes it even more exciting. The next book I want to talk about is also not a brand new book, but it was a book that I absolutely loved, and the shortest one on this list, and this is The Wife by Meg Wolitzer. This book is about a male-female relationship, husband and wife, kind of looking, the characters are both older, they're reflecting back on their marriage and their relationship and what brought them together. And the husband is this very famous writer who has this extreme ego, and it's kind of the wife like critiquing him and his actions, and kind of trying to understand why she stuck around with him for so long. And in the first couple pages, it becomes clear that she's going to leave her husband, but so we know this is going to happen at some point, and we're waiting for it and waiting for what the reveal will be. And you just want to get to that point. So in that sense, it makes the novel very quick, and you like just don't want to put it down. It's 219 pages. I think I knocked this one out in like a day just because I was so intrigued by the writing style. Because I liked this one so much, I went ahead and I bought The Female Persuasion, and I know that book is a little hit or miss for most people, and I really didn't like it. I really did not enjoy that. I could not believe that Meg Wolitzer wrote this and then she wrote The Female Persuasion. To me, they just seem like two completely different writing styles, and I know a lot of people enjoy The Female Persuasion, but I just could not get behind that book. So I'm a little bit bummed because I thought I was finding like a new favorite writer, because I haven't read, what's her other really famous book, The Interestings, and I thought maybe if I like The Female Persuasion, then I would like The Interestings, but I didn't dig this at all, or I didn't dig The Female Persuasion at all. I found it very problematic, and kind of like you always knew what was going to happen, whereas with this book, like you had no clue like how things were going to go down. So I think this is my calling it quits with Meg Wolitzer, but I still love this book. I'd recommend it to anybody, especially if you're looking for a short read. And again, I get like 95% of my books used, so this has been out a while, so you can find it pretty inexpensively online. My next book is also an oldie but a goodie, which I finally got around to reading because this year I've been picking up a lot more Barbara Kingsolver. I read her novel, what is it? Flight Behavior, earlier in the year, and I just really, really liked her writing style. I found it very compelling. It kind of reminded me of like in high school when I would binge read those Jodi Picoult books, and you just like, you just find it so easy to like connect with the writing style, and everything is very clear and intriguing. And anyway, I feel like Barbara Kingsolver is like grown up me Jodi Picoult. So I have a couple of her other books. I think I have the Unsheltered and The Prodigal Summer, which I ordered in the mail. So those are coming, and I'm excited to turn to those next. I know that like everyone's probably already read those books, but this was new for me too. I was a little bit nervous about the size. I think I'm getting over my fear of big books just by reading like a lot of big books that are really good. But I really enjoyed this. Again, I won't get into too much detail, but it's about a family that goes to Africa They're in the Belgian Congo in the late 1950s, like during this time of real political turmoil and conflict. And again, like a very clueless male character. You can see the theme of what I really like. Has no idea like what he's doing, but by being a missionary in this place he's never been, he's never really learned about, never considered these different cultures, these different economic systems, different political system, religious culture, all these things. And so they end up doing a lot more harm than good. And I just found that so compelling. I think that that is like such an important place for critique of like modern missions, as well as just like involvement globally, you know, from like any sort of development standpoint. But I really, really enjoyed this one. Again, I didn't want to put it down because I was just so like immersed in the story and the place. This book is told from the daughter's different perspectives, as well as the wife's perspective. We don't get the husband's perspective, which I really like. I think that that is like a really cool way of like balancing out this really overpowering male character. All the sisters are incredibly different. Some of them are a lot more likable than others. Some of them are more clueless than others. But all in all, they're just young girls who have never been to this foreign country and are now kind of struggling to survive because of incompetency. So if you haven't read this one and you want to like read something very engaging, kind of almost like Lily King's Euphoria, I thought of when I bought this. I really, really like that book. I would highly recommend this one. And then the last book I just started yesterday, but I'm obsessed with it, so I had to throw it in because it's the last day of August. It's still summer, I guess. Is Queenie, and I am just loving this story so much. I find it like so funny and so relatable, and just so well written. So I haven't finished this. I'm on page 80. I hope I can finish it today and give you some more thoughts, but the hype around this is real. Like, if you've been hemming and hawing about getting this book, like, just go ahead and get it because it's so dang good. So I won't say anything more about this, but I have a feeling if I'd read this sooner, it would be in my big old pile. So anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap up there. I hope you liked some of these recommendations. I hope some of them were new to you. Let me know what you've liked reading this summer, and thanks so much. Bye.